I always thought karma would come quietly, like a whisper behind closed doors. But I didn't expect to walk into my own apartment and find my boyfriend, no, ex, tangled in the sheets with my best friend, laughing. Like I was the punchline to some sick joke. I stood there frozen, grocery bag still in my hand, oranges rolling across the floor like a sad little metaphor for everything slipping out of place. And they didn't even stop. Didn't jump up. Didn't apologize. She just smirked and pulled the blanket higher, and he said, "I swear to God, now you know how it feels." The worst part? I do know how it feels. Because 3 months ago, I was the one on the other side of this story. I was the one lying and sneaking and telling myself it didn't matter, because I was bored. Because he was too nice. Because the guy at work made my heart race in a way my own boyfriend hadn't in years. I didn't mean to destroy everything, but now, watching them together in my bed, I think I finally understand what I did. And I don't know whether to scream, cry, or laugh along with them. Before I tell you what happened next, make sure you're ready to hear how ugly love can really get. I used to tell myself that comfort was enough. That having a boyfriend who cooked for me, who texted good morning every single day without fail, who never raised his voice, that was supposed to be the dream, right? But the truth is, I got bored. Not because he changed, but because he didn't. Alex was steady, predictable, kind. And somewhere along the way, kindness started to feel like silence. Like background noise. Like wallpaper I'd stared at for too long. I started craving chaos. Craving the butterflies I hadn't felt in 2 years. Craving someone who'd make my heart slam against my ribcage instead of hum quietly like a lullaby. That's when Connor showed up. The new guy in our marketing department. He was cocky, loud, always 2 buttons too undone on his shirt. And he looked at me like he already knew what I looked like naked. The first time he touched my lower back during a coffee break, I didn't flinch. I smiled. And that night, I went home and slept next to Alex like nothing had happened. Like I wasn't already slipping away. It started with messages. Innocent, flirty, stupid. Then a coffee date. Then one night after a happy hour, I let Connor kiss me in the stairwell of a parking garage. My knees buckled, my breath caught, and for the first time in forever, I felt something. That dangerous, dizzy, electric rush. I told myself it didn't count. I told myself I wouldn't see him again. But the next time was easier. And the time after that, I stopped pretending it was an accident. The guilt came in waves. I'd lay in bed with Alex, watching him sleep, and I'd feel this twisted mix of affection and disgust. I loved him. I really did. But not in the way he loved me. Not in the way he deserved to be loved. He was planning forever. I was counting the days until I could breathe again. Every sweet gesture he made started to feel like a weight. Every "I miss you" text felt like a trap. And I couldn't stand it. One night, after Connor left my place, I stared at myself in the mirror. My makeup was smudged, my shirt still halfway unbuttoned. And all I could think was, who the hell am I becoming? I wanted to stop. I did. But I also wanted more. More danger. More lust. More something. Anything but the quiet, safe love Alex gave me. I was addicted to the feeling of being wanted, like a drug I couldn't quit. And yet, I was still the girlfriend. I still came home. Still smiled through dinners with his parents. Still acted like I was in a relationship I respected. Until one morning, I saw him standing in the hallway, holding my phone. Unlocked. Open to the thread with Connor. His hands were shaking. His face was pale. And all he said was, "How long?" I wanted to lie. I wanted to cry. I wanted to fall on my knees and beg for forgiveness. But instead, I just said, 3 months. He nodded. No shouting. No accusations. Just walked out the door and didn't come back for a week. When he did, he said he needed time. And I thought maybe we'd move past it. That maybe I could fix it. That maybe he'd still choose me. But I didn't know then that he was already planning his revenge. He wasn't going to break up with me. No. He was going to break me. After the night he found the texts, everything in our apartment changed, but nothing actually moved. The same dishes were in the sink. His jacket still hung on the hook by the door. The bed still had that little dip on his side. But Alex? He wasn't there anymore. Not really. He didn't yell. He didn't ask for explanations. He didn't cry in front of me. He just hardened. Like the man I knew had gone into hibernation, and this cold, unreadable stranger had taken his place. For a week, we barely spoke. When we did, it was short, stiff. "Can you hand me the charger, or I'll be late tonight?" No emotion. Just mechanical conversation in the ruins of what we used to be. And I kept trying. Cooking his favorite meals, texting him sweet things, even apologizing in quiet, desperate whispers in the dark while he lay awake beside me, pretending to be asleep. But nothing I did got through to him. It was like trying to hug a ghost. Then the girls' nights started. He never used to go out. But now, every weekend, he was gone. Fridays, Saturdays, sometimes even weeknights. I'd smell cologne that wasn't his on his jacket. Find receipts in his pockets from bars he never mentioned. He started wearing new clothes. Opened a new gym membership. He was becoming someone else, and I didn't recognize who he was becoming. I should have known. I should have known it was her. Her name was Tessa. My best friend since college. The one who held my hair back when I threw up on my 21st birthday. The one who helped me pick out Alex's first birthday gift. The one who once told me she was jealous of the way he looked at me, like "You're the only girl in the world," she said. I laughed then. I didn't laugh when I noticed her liking his gym selfies. Or when I caught her name pop up on his phone at 2 a.m. with a heart emoji. I confronted him. He just smiled and said, "You don't get to ask questions anymore." That night, I called her. I didn't even accuse her, I just asked, "Are you seeing him?" Silence. Then, we didn't plan this. It just happened. My hands went numb. My throat dried out. And all I could say was, "In my bed?" And she said nothing. Nothing. Because yes, it had been in my bed. The sheets I once cried into, the mattress we bought together at IKEA, the place where we first said "I love you," now a battlefield soaked in betrayal. But here's the thing, I didn't even cry. Not that night. Not right away. I laughed. This bitter, broken laugh that echoed in my apartment like a scream trapped in reverse. Because I deserved it. Didn't I? I opened this door. I shattered us. And now he was just finishing what I started, except he was doing it with precision. Revenge dressed as forgiveness. He moved back in full time. Started being nice again. But it wasn't real. It was performative, calculated. He brought me coffee in the mornings. Rubbed my back while watching Netflix. Took pictures of our dinner and posted them with captions like "Nights in with my girl blue heart." But every touch was laced with venom. I started finding little hints, one of her earrings on the floor of the guest room. A new brand of shampoo in the shower. A receipt for lingerie from a boutique I'd introduced her to. They weren't even hiding it anymore. I began to unravel. Paranoia settled into my bones. I checked his location. Snooped through his phone. Cried in the closet so he wouldn't hear me. I wanted to leave. I told myself I should. But then, I'd remember the beginning, how soft he used to be with me. How good we once were. And I'd cling to the lie that maybe, somehow, we could go back. Then came the night that broke me. I came home early from work, arms full of groceries, determined to make us dinner. Some desperate part of me thought maybe a home-cooked meal would be a step back to normal. But as I pushed open the door, I heard it, laughter. Hers. Followed by his. And when I stepped into the bedroom, they didn't stop. Tessa turned her head and smiled. Oops. Alex looked up, cool as ever, and said, "You're home early." The oranges spilled from my bag. Rolled across the hardwood floor. And with them, every lie, every betrayal, every hope I'd held on to finally shattered. I stood there in the doorway like a prop in my own tragedy, watching them fumble with the sheets, pretending like modesty mattered now. My brain was frozen, like someone had pressed pause on my life, but my body was on fire. Every nerve screamed. Every cell boiled. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared, until the silence stretched so thin it snapped. And I whispered the only thing that came to mind, "You win." Then I walked out. I didn't even take my coat off. I just left. Down the stairs, out the door, into the night like a ghost. I wandered for hours. I don't even remember where I went. I think I walked into a bar, but I didn't drink. I think someone tried to flirt with me, but I couldn't even fake a smile. All I kept thinking was I really that replaceable? That disposable? That easy to destroy? But anger? Oh, anger finally found me 2 days later. It hit me while I was scrolling through Tessa's Instagram. She posted a photo of Alex's hand on her thigh, her caption some smug quote about finding love where you least expect it. And that's when something in me snapped. I was done being the girl who cried in the closet. I was done waiting for closure that would never come. I wanted to make them feel what I felt, humiliated, betrayed, shattered. So I started planning. I didn't confront them. I didn't block them. I let them think they'd won. I smiled when Tessa texted me some fake apology. I played polite when Alex offered to talk things through. I even stayed in the apartment for another week, pretending like I was packing slowly, too heartbroken to move faster. Meanwhile, I was documenting everything. Photos, receipts, DMs, screenshots of him still flirting with other girls on dating apps. And one very special video of Tessa whispering about their little secret the night before they thought I'd come home. Once I had enough, I sent it to Tessa's boss. She worked in PR. Her whole career was about image, and let's just say the footage of her half naked in my bed with a man who wasn't hers, one who was still technically mine, didn't really scream professional integrity. She was fired within 48 hours. Alex was next. I sent a copy of the dating app chats to his little sister, the one who used to call me the best thing that ever happened to him. She reposted them with the caption, "This you, bro?" It went viral in his friend group. I heard he stopped going to the gym because no one there could look him in the eye. I didn't stop there. I returned the mattress, our mattress, to the store. Had it picked up while he was at work. Left a note that said, "You can sleep in the mess you made, but not in my sheets." I cancelled the lease behind his back. My name was the only one on it anyway. He had 2 weeks to move out, and by the time he realized, I'd already signed a lease somewhere else. For the first time in months, I started sleeping again. Not well. Not peacefully. But without the crushing weight of regret on my chest. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming control over the version of myself I'd let die, the one who used to laugh loudly, love deeply, and trust easily. But here's the twist no one sees coming. One night, maybe 2 weeks after the chaos, I got a message from Tessa. Just one line, "He cheated on me too." I stared at the screen for so long my eyes burned. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because of course he did. Of course the man who once worshipped me, who I wrecked, who then turned into a monster, of course he'd keep burning the house down even after I was gone. And I realized something. We weren't victims of each other. We were reflections. Broken mirrors slicing each other with the same sharp edges. I cheated because I was bored. He cheated because he was hurt. She betrayed me because envy eats away at people slowly until they lose their grip on decency. We were all guilty. And none of us were clean enough to climb out of this without scars. It's strange, the way a heart breaks. You think it'll be loud, like glass shattering or thunder splitting the sky. But for me, it was quiet. Just a slow, aching silence that settled in my chest like fog. In the weeks after everything burned down, I tried to find pieces of myself in the ruins. I deleted the photos. Blocked the numbers. Moved into a new apartment with bare white walls and zero memories. It should have felt like a fresh start. It didn't. It felt like mourning. People kept telling me to learn from it. To heal and grow and let it go. But healing isn't linear, and growth doesn't always come wrapped in neat little lessons. Sometimes, healing looks like waking up and not crying until noon. Sometimes it's scrolling through old messages, rereading the lies, wondering how you missed the signs. And sometimes it's realizing that maybe you didn't miss them, you just ignored them, because fantasy was easier than truth. I tried dating again. Downloaded the apps. Had coffee with men who looked at me like a puzzle they wanted to solve. But every time someone smiled too easily, or touched my hand too gently, I pulled away. Not because I didn't want it, but because I couldn't trust it. Love, to me now, feels like a loaded gun with no safety. Every kind word, a potential trigger. Every kiss, a countdown. The last time I saw Alex was in a grocery store aisle. He was alone, holding a single carton of eggs. He looked older. Tired. Like life had aged him faster than it should have. Our eyes met. No words. Just this long, heavy pause. And for a moment, I saw the version of us that could have been, the version I killed out of boredom, and he buried out of vengeance. Then he turned away. And so did I. I haven't spoken to Tessa since the fallout. Part of me wants to send her one final message, not to make peace, not to forgive, but just to say, we were supposed to protect each other. But I know it won't change anything. Some betrayals leave cracks too deep for closure. Now, I live in a quieter world. One where I cook dinner for myself and dance alone in my kitchen when a good song plays. One where I wear whatever I want, sleep diagonally across the bed, and buy myself flowers just because. And even though I'm not sure I'll ever trust someone again the way I once did, I've started to trust myself. Slowly. Cautiously. I don't know if love will ever feel safe again. Maybe it's not supposed to. Maybe real love isn't about safety. Maybe it's about standing in the wreckage of your worst mistakes, bloodied and bruised, and choosing to love anyway. But right now, I'm still learning. Still rebuilding. Still standing in the mirror some days, whispering, "You are not the worst thing you've ever done." I cheated because I was bored. He slept with my best friend out of revenge. And we destroyed each other in a way only people who once deeply loved can. But I'm still here. Still breathing. Still becoming someone new. And that version of me? She may not love the same again. But she'll never settle for less than she deserves.